Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another Ace for Waves episode. I don't know what number this is, so that's that's kind of funny actually. The literal host and producer doesn't know what episode she's on. I think this is one. I think last week was 28. I think so. I think this might be 29. Who knows? But today is a fun one here. Last week or the week a week 2 weeks ago, I kind of did like a general sports episode where we talked about multiple sports all in one. We talked about the Open Championship or the end of it. We talked about a little bit about Rory there and his comments. We talked some. I don't think we talked NBA basketball actually. We talked a little bit about the MLB, and then we talked some other sport that I sure I found a way to talk about my favorite team. But that was last week. This week, we're almost towards August here. It is August 29th as of recording this. Probably won't be until
July
tomorrow,
29th.
July 29th. I probably just said August 29th. I
Yeah,
did. That's funny. It's July
three more
29th.
days.
Yeah, 2 more days till August. It's July 29th. It's probably gonna be July 30th when this gets uploaded and such, but we're here to talk Big 12 football, and more specifically, kind of the trend that Big 12 football is taking, and the Big 12 how the Big 12 conference is kind of growing and evolving with that. The landscape is gonna look a little bit different this year, I think. I know some head coaches have left the program, gone on to coach other teams here. New coaches are coming in. Players are entering the transfer portal, going in and out. So we're going to discuss all of that today. And with me, I have my wonderful co-host, co-producer. You've seen him on the channel before. It's the only brother who has agreed to do a podcast with me and agreed to co-host with me. The other brother has no interest in doing so. So it's my favorite brother right now, Michael Schneider. Give it up.
Hey everybody. Yeah, I'm not in Iowa. I'm in Maryland actually while recording this.
He is in
So,
Maryland.
but yeah, I've been enjoying it out here, and football is right around the corner, so I'm super excited for that.
He's a big football fan, if you guys couldn't tell. We are a little bit short on time because Zoom meetings apparently have time slots here because I don't have Zoom Premium because I was still a student when I was using Zoom and never thought to upgrade it. So Michael actually texted me the premise for this one today, so I'm gonna let him kind of kick it off where to start and where we are going to go from there. So Michael, take it away. What's our first starting point for today's episode?
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the Big 12 football. And so there's no new teams this year, which I know there's been a lot of shifting around with teams. The conferences are moving around. The Big 12 stayed the same, 16 teams. We just added recently. We added Arizona, Arizona State, BYU, and Utah to the mix. And so now, we keep those same teams. We do have four new head coaches though in the Big 12 for this year. One of them being Colin Klein at Kansas State. He's taken over his father, Chris Kleiman, who was the head coach there recently. And then we also have Morgan Scaley, hopefully I pronounced that right, at Utah, who was the defensive coordinator, but he got promoted after Kyle Winningham took the job at Michigan. Then we have our own Jimmy Rogers at Iowa State. He's taken over from Matt Campbell. He came from Washington State and also was a head coach at South Dakota State and won two FCS championships there. And then lastly, one of the biggest names, Eric Morris from Oklahoma. He's going to Oklahoma State to be the new head coach. He was the head coach of North Texas. North Texas was a really great team. They almost made the college football playoffs, but he will be taking over Mike Gundy's departure. But Eric Morris, a really great coach, got a lot of great players. They also do have the potential newcomer of the year, Drew Meskmaker who's a redshirt sophomore who had a great year last year. So really excited to see what they can do. Iowa State does play Oklahoma State on Halloween night. That is our homecoming game. So it should be a good one. And Oklahoma State is projected to finish ninth in the conference, which also too, with all these transfer portals, it's so hard to judge a preseason poll this early on with so many transfers. It's hard to know which team is going to come out of the gate. It's really good just to, you know, get in the conference play and then you understand. But yeah, that's kind of want to kick off. So four new head coaches in the Big 12. Um, and then also we have the Big 12 preseason poll if you guys were interested. Um, you know, the champions last year in Texas Tech, they are the favorite again. And second is BYU. So Texas Tech and BYU were in the Big 12 championship last year. They're the favorites again, like last year. Um, and then just looking at the Big 12 football rankings for this year, Iowa State is projected 16th out of 16. And well, do you have anything to say on that? I know I've listened to a few things on that, but just want to get your insight on that.
Yes, I do. I don't like that we are projected to finish in last place. That feels like a disservice to Iowa State and to me in general, because I have been very outspoken about my love for Iowa State football. I get it. Unfortunately, I do see it with the new head coach and all these players who are entering the transfer portal deciding to leave the program here. So I get why people would think we would be projected 16 out of 16. I don't like that it's so early on and that you're making this prediction based on who has all left, especially when you're bringing in some other good transfers in here. I also just feel like it's a discredit to Jimmy Rogers and what he's going to bring to this team. Because he has won at his previous football
Correct.
game. Like he brings in experience. He's not like this new coach who has no experience and he's going from like, I don't know, a high school football coach who won like a playoff game to now a college football coach at one of the bigger programs in the Big 12, you know?
Right. And I just think also like um it's just he's he went to Washington State last year. So he did the exact same thing last year. He had to bring in 70 transfers to Washington State last year. Let's also think Washington State only lost to, I'm going to do a fact check here. I know they're scheduled. They played some tough teams last year and they were competitive.
Mm-hmm.
They were competitive every game. Like you look at this year, Washington State, um, their football schedule from last year, um, they played against Old Miss. You guys don't remember Old Miss was ranked number 4 and they were in the college football playoffs. Washington State lost to them by
Whoa.
3 points on the road. Um, and then also you look at it too, James Madison, who made the college football playoffs. Washington State only lost to them by 4. That was also another road game. So there was games, and also let alone Washington State did win a bowl game last year with Jimmy Rogers, first year head coach, and he's proven that he can win games. And I remember listening to the Big 12 media day, hearing him say he's going to use this as motivation towards his team, in that they're not like this is an underdog season for Iowa State, and we've been there in situations with Matt Campbell in 2017 when we went to Oklahoma at Oklahoma number 3, and we went on and won that game in Norman. We also had the same scenario with TCU a couple weeks later, number 4 ranked team, and we won that game. And we soon climbed up college football, you know, ranking, stand, like all that. Just the name, we got our name out there, and so I think Iowa is going to really benefit off this though in the long run. So, um, yeah, I just kind of wanted to state that. Just seeing the Big 12 football rankings, like, um, and actually I can share it here too. Does that work?
Yeah, that works.
So,
I want to ask you this because I know it's also been a big trend in college basketball too with the transfer portal and such. I know I think college basketball, college football, you see transfers like come and go almost every year. But now more than ever, I feel like we've seen a lot of players enter the transfer portal even after their first year of college. Why do you think that is? And how is that kind of messing up, the true algorithm and the true meaning of playing collegiate sports?
right. Um, this doesn't go for the Big 12. This goes for every conference.
Hmm.
I think it's just more transfers is it obviously goes with NIL. It's also a reason that some players are more antsy to play right away instead of sit out. Um, and so I just think that this whole NIL thing is just it's there needs to be like boundaries for this stuff. There needs to be a limit, and there's not a limit. So that's really just it's not good for college sports in general, and there needs to be a limit of some sort. You're looking at it with bowl games as well.
Hmm.
Teams are opting out and stuff because they have so many transfers and stuff, which I think will be a good idea is for play. Yep.
Didn't Iowa State opt out of their bowl game last year?
Yes, Iowa State did and K-State did as well. I know at least two teams did, but I think for this whole NIL thing is to make sure, like, if you're gonna make a certain amount of NIL, you have to play in your postseason bowl game or something. But
Hmm.
the only thing that the NCAA is doing is just expanding the college football playoff, which I think they will do. It's just going to keep on expanding, and bowl games are going to get less relevant, which I don't like because I think bowl games really, you know, propel yourself for the next year and stuff, and that can be a good momentum shifter. Um, but yeah, also talking about the college football playoff. The Big 12 only got one team last year, and that was Texas Tech.
How far
I
did
still,
Texas Tech make it again? Remind me.
um,
Because they didn't win the championship. I know
they
that.
did they lost in the first round
Okay.
to
To some
or
team.
Oregon, I believe.
Okay. While you look that up, we're just gonna look at some of the other
You can
teams.
still see my screen, right?
Yeah. So while you look that up, let's just take a moment to talk about the teams that are in the Big 12 for college
Yep.
football. We
Yeah,
have,
I was right. Yep.
yeah.
They lost to Oregon 23 to nothing. So, um, that's
Let's look at their teams though. We still have Arizona State, who I think did make it pretty far in the Big 12 championship at least, or maybe that was a couple years ago. But Arizona
yep, a
State has
couple of years.
done well for its program. Houston also is notoriously done pretty
Houston's
well.
another team that has done a is going to be really good. Like they've started out a little shaky, but
Hmm.
I expect them to compete at a high level. Um, and so yeah. And also Utah as well. Like Utah is going to be a really good team as well.
I think
Um,
Arizona
it,
absolutely deserves to be. I'm just looking at this ranking here. I agree that Texas Tech should be number one. Like, that's a
yes.
no-brainer. I also agree with it being 1 through 3. I think Arizona definitely deserves to be in the top three here, and BYU too. I could also see why Houston's number 5 in with Utah. Maybe I would put Arizona State at like number 5, but it could definitely go either way with that. Again,
Hmm.
I get why they put Iowa State at 16, but just looking, West Virginia didn't do really good last season. Neither did
No.
Colorado. So I
Yeah.
don't like
I
that
think
we
I
finished what, fourth place, fifth place? I forgot. In the standings last year.
we were yeah, we were around there.
And we dropped all the way to 16. I don't like that. But again,
Yeah.
when your starting quarterback enters the transfer portal, I guess that's another reason why they would put you down at the bottom.
Yep.
I'm hoping I'm hoping that they prove me wrong this year. I want Iowa State to prove me wrong and then say that no, screw that. We did not deserve to be ranked last, and we're going to come out and show the entire college football world that we are still contenders in the Big 12.
Hmm.
Now, basketball is a little bit different, but basketball, I could definitely see us still being somewhat of a contender. But again, with
Right.
NIL and with players graduating and such, that's also look very different there. Going back to the Big 12 landscape, though, you said there's four new coaches coming into the Big 12 this season. I'm curious. We've talked a little bit about Jimmy Rogers. Who do you think has the most pressure on them to perform well in their first year?
Yeah. I definitely think it's gonna be Eric Morris, the Oklahoma State head coach. Um, I just think, you know, Oklahoma State last year was horrible. If you don't remember, they went winless in the Big 12. I think they won maybe two or three games, I think. Um, but Oklahoma State fans are desperate and they have high expectations for Eric Morris, which is what they should. I mean, he's a great coach. Um, and they also have the preseason guy in Drew Musmaker, who was a great quarterback last year for North Texas. So they have a lot of great players, and his stats were great last year: 36 touchdowns, 11 interceptions only. It was really good, and had almost 5,000 yards passing, which I do think was it was the most last year in college football.
Wow.
So that's impressive. Um, but out of the four coaches, it's definitely Eric Morris at Oklahoma State. They have high expectations. He brought in a lot of great transfers, a lot of players from North Texas, but he's under the most pressure. But just because Oklahoma State has just had a bad couple of years of football, and I'm expecting them to win at least 8 or 9 games this year with their schedule and how it is. Um, and I just expect, I mean, Colin Klein, you know, high expectations because Chris Klieman was a really good coach for them. But I just think, a bowl game for them would be great. I think that's the same way for Jimmy Rogers. I think Morgan Scalley from the Utah head coach, I believe he will have a little bit, but nothing as much as Eric Morris, I believe. So,
I think I agree there. Obviously, there's also pressure on Jimmy Rogers to kind of continue the trend that Matt Campbell has set for Iowa State football the last 10 or so years that he's been there. And look, they're in a rebuilding season. I feel like every team goes through a rebuild at some point during their program's history and such. I mean, taking it back, but after the Paul Rhodes era, I would say was in its rebuilding era too with Matt Campbell.
right. Like the year after Paul Rhodes got fired or he stepped down, I kind of forget
I
with
think
the
he
whole
was
Paul Rhodes.
fired.
I believe he was fired, but Matt Campbell went 3-9 his first year. And
Hmm.
then his second year, he won 7 games, and he basically made it to a bowl game every single year, except 22 with Hunter Deckers, and we went 4-8. But like his 10 or 11 years here at Iowa State, he only missed two bowl games, and one of them was his first year. So like, there's not much pressure for Jimmy to make a bowl game. It would be great, but
And
you
again,
know,
with losing those all the like good players to the transfer portal, and probably following Matt Campbell to Penn State, that has to make an impact too. Even their starting quarterback, who decided to enter the portal for his last year, or maybe it's his second to last year. I forget what year Rocco was.
Rocco will be a redshirt senior this year. It'll be his last year. Yep.
Okay.
And then also the new NCAA rule as well, 5-5 came out. So that's a whole new thing we can talk about later. But yeah,
I think we should talk about the 5-5 when we do like an overview of college football as a whole, because I feel like that could be a good, especially for some
yeah,
of the SEC Big Ten teams who are looking to compete in a title as
right.
well. Really
But
quick, sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. You can go.
Okay. But yeah, overall for this upcoming year, obviously the SEC and Big Ten are the top two conferences. That's understandable. And I think the Big 12 and ACC are right there neck and neck, with talent wise. I do think Big 12's probably, I would probably say it's the fourth best conference for football wise. I think it's pretty understandable. I would say the ACC is better just with Miami. I think Miami had a great year last year and they had better success in the postseason. Um, but I think Big 12 is the fourth best conference, and um, I'm expecting us to get one, maybe squeak in two teams in the playoffs. We'll see, but I'm just expecting one for now. But there's a chance if things go right, we get two.
I'm definitely betting on Texas Tech, but if they don't make the college football playoffs, I will literally be shot. Like I think that I
Yes,
would be, my
Texas Tech
mind would
has the
be blown.
most. Yeah, they have the most NIL money in the entire Big 12, and they're probably top 10 in the country. So they have enough money to spend and spread around. So, yeah, a team though, we can also do teams that will be overrated and a team that's going to be underrated compared to um what they have for the Big 12 football rankings. If you want me to share this with you,
Sure.
um, I'm going to give you my insight. Um, a team that I think is a little too low on this that I think will be good is I'm going to go Oklahoma State. I
Okay, so
they're
they're at 9 right now. What do you
they're
think? They're at
they're
like
not. And
7?
I think they'll be around the 5 and 7 range at the end of the year.
Okay.
That's my team that I think is a little low that I think will exceed expectations to these rankings here. And a team that I think is a little too high, I'm gonna go with Arizona here. They do bring back Noah Fafita. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Their starting quarterback who's great, but I'm just gonna think they're just a little bit overrated. They did okay last year. They had a few hiccups here and there, but I'm gonna stay with Arizona. I think they're a little too high. I think they're gonna be roughly around the 7 mark. I think they'll be around 6 to 8 range, I think. So that's my intake is Arizona a little too high and Oklahoma State a little too low. So Annabelle, if you want to go ahead, you can
I was
give
gonna
your
make a
insight.
6-7 joke, and then I thought better of it. Just
I was too, but I was
that
like,
was
yeah,
2025, and we're in 2026. It did cross my mind though. Okay, well,
yeah.
obviously, I think Iowa State is way too low, but as I said multiple times already, we can discuss why they are last. I think, I actually think okay, I'll give you my highs, my lows, and my just rights here. I think Arizona State is just right at 6. Because I know
Yeah.
they weren't the best team, but they also weren't like the worst team last year. I think that is very, very solid.
And Dillingham at Arizona State, he's wants to stay there. Dillingham wants to stay there as a head coach at Arizona State. He loves that program. He's gonna be great. I mean, he's been great with them when they had the one year they made it to the college football playoff. Arizona State made the college football playoff and they were projected 16 out of 16. Just
So there's
remember that.
so there's hope for Iowa State to make the college football playoffs and being 16 out of 16. So
I
I'll
mean,
hold
it was
this.
just 3 years ago that a Big 12 team, Arizona State did that with Sam Levitt and Cam Scadaboo. So anything's possible, but
So
Dillingham does a great job. So
yeah, so
yeah,
never say never, Cyclone fans. There's like maybe a 0.1% chance of hope there. But no, I do think Arizona State is right solid at 6. I could move them up to number 5 if I really wanted to, but I think Houston, Arizona State could fall like in and out there. I think Kansas State's overrated for me at number 8. I know we beat them when we really needed to win last season. I just didn't like really what I was seeing from Kansas State the times that I had watched them
the,
play. I th-
yes, they do bring Avery Johnson back, their starting quarterback, but he's
Mhm.
just they K-State's had too much hype for him a lot of years, and they've just kind of just been mediocre. Like they were ranked when we Iowa State played K-State in Ireland. They
Yeah.
were ranked, and they finished the season with around 5 to 7 wins. I don't exactly know, but they were just mediocre. And so I just K-State's just kind of just been a little overrated the last couple of years. And Avery Johnson as well has been another overrated quarterback in the Big 12 with a lot of hype around him. But he needs to have a better year this year.
Absolutely, yeah. I would move Kansas State if they're number 8 right now. I would move them. I would actually probably move them to like 10 or 11, I think, for me personally. They're not the
Yeah.
bottom, but I don't think they deserve to be like number 8. So I think that's my overrated team. I said Arizona State was just where it needed to be. I think my underrated team, and I'm gonna hate myself for saying this too. I think the Jayhawks, Kansas Jayhawks actually, are a little bit of an underrated team here. I don't like the Jayhawks. Personally, I don't like Kansas just in general, but I know they didn't have the best season last year necessarily in terms of, like a wow factor. But I do believe they can make a good run this year too. Obviously, their football program has not been great. They're more known for basketball than they are for football. But I could totally see them giving like Oklahoma State or even Baylor a run for its money this year.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, no, I take that back. I think TCU is a little bit of an underrated team as well. I think
Okay.
wasn't TCU just like a few years ago in the college football like finals?
It was a while back, but
Or maybe it was like 2021.
last year they were pretty good. They're just I think seven's pretty good for TCU. I think that's a good spot for them. They've
Hmm.
they've kind of been around that mediocre, a little above average for a while. So yeah.
I also think we're ruling out Baylor too. I don't think we're giving Baylor enough credit for being like at number 10.
Yeah, Baylor's been an interesting team. They've had some great years in the past, but they've kind of just stayed steady for a while. They didn't have a good they had a really bad year last year, if
Yeah.
I recall. They won like maybe 4 or 5 games, I think. And I'll pull it up right here. Like their last couple years, I know they won 5 games last year. In 2024, they won 8. Oh, and then in 2023 they won 3. So their last 3 years have kind of been up
Mm,
and down. And
yeah.
so I think, yeah, Baylor at 10, I think it's all right. But I mean, they've just kind of been inconsistent. So yeah.
Okay. We have about like 9 minutes left of this, of course. So to close out here, I know this isn't football talk like at all, but I feel like it's also worth mentioning now that we're recording this. Bringing it to baseball super, super quickly before we close out with college football. The MLB trade deadline is this Friday. No, not this Friday. August
This
3rd.
upcoming Monday, August 3rd, will be the start of the MLB trade deadline. Yep.
Yes. And so here, I'm gonna share my screen now with you here,
Oh, yep. Yep.
just so we can kind of see. Um, share screen. Don't look at that, guys. That was not what we needed to see. I was looking at Just Dance stuff here. Well, oh boy, we'll allow that there. So this is just stats from this year in the MLB so far. Michael, what I really wanted to bring this up with you in though is for strikeouts. Your team, the Milwaukee Brewers, your pitcher currently leads the entire MLB in strikeouts with 185, and Jacob Mizorowski.
Jacob Mizorowski has been the name that
20,
everybody's heard about this year. He's
29.
been insane. He's been throwing his last outing against the Colorado Rockies. He threw however many fastballs. It was like 70 fastballs. All of them were over 100 miles an hour.
Jeez.
He
The
is a unreal talent right now, and he's a player you want to watch. Um,
The next closest has 17 strikeouts in second place. So he currently has a 17 uh head advantage.
that's roughly two full games. worth of
That's
strikeouts ahead.
insane.
Also Christopher Sanchez for the Phillies is another great starting pitcher. So yeah,
I'm trying to see who do we. Okay, so the Brewer. Okay, so speaking of the NL stuff, the Brewers currently ranked fourth in team batting stats overall, and they rank fourth out of how many teams? 30 teams. So top five, not bad. I'm surprised the Pittsburgh Pirates are number two because aren't they like in last place or fourth place in their NL Central?
the Pirates. If you go to the standings too, the NL Central is probably one of the best divisions in baseball.
The St. Louis Cardinals aren't doing well right now. They've lost two straight to the Cubs. Ha, sight, suck it.
But if you go to the standings, though, I mean, you
Bro,
can
I could say it. Yeah, you're right. But anyways, team bet. I'm surprised the Cubs are ninth. I feel like every time hear the Cubs, a player has struck out. Um, and there's one player in particular who I'm thinking of on the Cubs, who's my favorite Cub, and Ian
Ian
Happ.
Happ.
Yep, I love Ian Happ so much. Did you see his defensive play that he did against the Pirates, throwing out a guy at home? You probably didn't, though. You don't keep up with the Cubs. He also got a guy
No,
out on second last night with the Cardinals. It was pretty cool. And Nico Horner. Let's see team. Well, actually, no, wait. Let's go to teams, or we can go to standings. Actually, let's look at the standings very quickly because
yeah.
we have less than 6 minutes left. Should we?
The Rays, we can go division by division here really quick.
Sure.
Overall, the Rays, underrated team right now. They're ahead in the AL East over the
Ahead of the
Yankees,
Yankees, aren't the Red Sox on like a 10-game
and
winning streak right now?
the Red Sox won 15 in a row
Oh wow.
after being in last place. They were in last place in that division like 2 weeks ago, and
And
now
now
they're in the middle, so that's pretty good. So
they're only
the
seven
Rays,
games behind. Anything's possible.
yeah, so the Rays have been playing well, and the Yankees right behind them. Go
Mm-hmm.
to the AL Central here.
Yeah.
AL Central's been kind of just meh the last couple years. Reds or White Sox are leading that division, which White Sox have been really good. They've been struggling the last couple years, but they have some great talent on that roster now, and
Mm-hmm.
they're looking pretty good. And that division's really tight. Like the Tigers are in fourth, but they're only 5.5 games outside of first place. So really anybody's game there for that division.
There's Ashton's team, the Twins.
Yep, and the Twins are right behind them, so you have a really competitive division, but not
Not
a lot of good records
Are
though in
the
that
Royals
division.
the worst team in the MLB or one of the
I
worst
think they
teams?
are. Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. That's her favorite team. Okay, we have like 4 minutes left, so we'll have to go through this kind of quickly.
Or actually, sorry, the Angels are the worst team. They're at 42 wins, it looks like, and the
Oh.
Royals are like the second worst, I think. So,
The Angels have Mike
um,
Trout. He's like one of the best players in the MLB right
yeah, the Angels lost Otani, and that just kind of
now. Oh,
went
true.
downhill. But looking at the AL West, we
Okay,
have
sorry, yeah. So it looks like the White Sox and the Rangers are like on par though with their division. Like not very good, but
the
still.
AL West is the same thing too. They just kind of have a bunch of mediocre teams, nothing too crazy, but
I'm
looks
glad
like
the Astros are not doing well. I'm sorry, I just interrupted. I'm glad they're not doing really well this year.
yeah. So that division's really tight as well. The Rangers, Astros, and Mariners, anybody can win that. So yeah,
Didn't the Mariners just lose like 10 straight or like 12 straight and they finally just won on a walk-off?
I'm not sure.
I thought I saw something about that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of another team. Okay, so we have three
Yeah, maybe.
minutes left here. The Braves first in the NL East. I feel like that's not a surprise though. I feel like the Braves
Yeah,
have kind
The
of been
Braves have
on
been
our
really
radars.
good. I'm kind of surprised though the Phillies are down that low at 57 and 52. They have a
Oh,
lot of talent on that team with Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, and Brandon Marsh. They have a lot of great talent, but yeah, the Braves are a really great team, so nothing too much on that. And then the NL Central here, we got the Brewers ahead, 5.5 games above the Cubs. But overall, this is a great division though. Like a lot of great teams. I mean, the Cardinals are about 500 and they're in fourth place.
they're 13 and a half games behind, and they're
Yeah,
a little under 500. There's
yeah.
no
So
way they're
they're
catching up. They could catch up with the Pirates, actually. I do have even the same with the Reds. like any one of these teams could compete for a final wild card spot, I think. Because I think the Pirates are in a wild card position right now as like the
Yeah.
last wild card. All right, we have like 2-ish minutes here. We'll finish up the Dodgers
Yep.
first place
And
in
then
the
the
NL
Dodgers
West.
Dodgers will win
Massively.
that division every year. They're easily winning that division right behind the Diamondbacks are having a great year though. The Padres are having a good year.
I love the
Um,
Padres
a
still.
little frustrated with the Giants. I thought they have a pretty good roster with Luis Arraez and Willie Adames, but looks like they are allowing way too many runs. It looks
Yes.
like they're allowed 504 runs, so that's not the best, and they're
Didn't the
not.
Brewers just lose to the Giants 3-0 last
And well,
this week?
if you scroll to the top really quick and click on RA of the top,
Where's that?
RA, just scroll down, RS and RA.
Oh,
Yeah, click on RA, and
we
that'll
have
give
like a
you
minute
okay,
though, so you're gonna
and
have
then
to.
go up, and then go up,
Are you
and
looking
go to
at the
overall. Go up to overall.
overall? Oh, here.
Yeah, yep, and then you'll check and see how many teams where the Giants are at wise for allowing runs.
They're
So
probably
yeah,
last. Oh, they're right here.
they're not too bad. Okay, but
I'm
yeah,
surprised
you can
the Twins are like down. They're worse than the Giants. That's shocking to me, actually.
yeah, and the Twins
And
are 54 and 54.
the
So
Astros too. That's a okay. Who's in for? Hey, the Brewers still in fourth place. That's amazing. I feel like the Cubs
yeah,
are
but
just.
you can see it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. But okay,
I know. I think that's time. We have less than a minute here, but Michael, thanks so much for joining me today, talking about Big 12 football, a little bit of MLB, and hopefully we can make something in the future just talking about college football overall.
yep. Thank you for having me on, and yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to another episode of the podcast. And I'll catch you sometime next week.